Hello everybody, it's Big Chill here with a deck profile for Regalecus. Hope you guys are having a lovely day or a lovely night, depending on whenever you watch this, but we're just gonna get right into it here. So, let's start. We got 4 Bukemons. It's very simple. Regalecus just wants to pop out bodies, so just 4 of these. I don't think you need any other eggs. It's just, he's perfectly fine. You don't want no more eggs, right? For that guy. Then for our level 3s, going to level 3s here, we got 2 Madoki Betamons. You know, your memory blockers. I still think memory blockers are pretty good in this format, depending on what decks you're going up against. Memory blockers. And then with this deck profile, like this deck, you shift into planes a lot of the what's it called? A lot of the fish support that came in this set, EX3. So we play 3 of the Crabmons here, just because Crabmons are fucking clutch. So the Crabmon, if you hard play it or you play it out from a body, it gives one of your Digimon jamming. And we have quite a few we have like 2 Digimon that can play from sources, so that's really good. And we have Digimon that can play from others Digivolution sources, so this still comes in handy. And then when he's played from sources, he has a second effect where he allows you to place a level 5 or lower Digimon underneath that Digimon sources that you gave jamming to. Doesn't have to be the Digimon he came from. It just has to be the Digimon you gave jamming to. Very simple. I think 3 is perfect. I think a lot of the ratios are perfect. The only thing is there's some flex spots where you can add Madoki Betamon depending on your locals or wherever you're playing at. And then we got 3 Goemons here. Just for when played from sources, draw 2. It's really nothing more to say. I think this is your perfect source drop, you know, perfect source drop Digimon. Really perfect there. You know, you got a couple Digimon play from sources, so you're golden with that. You're always drawing 2, right? And then after that, we got 3 Patamon, but you could maybe bump this up to 4, but I think 3 is the perfect spot for the Patamons, just because you you definitely, just because like later in the video you'll see why we play 4 Patamons. But you know, end of turn they Jogras, or sorry, I hate Jogras. I don't like to say Jogras. You DNA or overlay into a Shaco or whatever you have, and since we're playing, you'll see. And then we have 1 Psychmon just for the cross heart matchups, being your Dark Knight, your Blue Flare, and literally cross heart if you're still playing fucking, you know, Shoutmon. I don't know if anybody's still playing Shoutmon, but hey, if they are, power to them. I know a lot of them are waiting for, you know, the new support just to see if that works better. I think though, yeah. But I think your most, I don't know if there's many flex spots in this. Again, depends on your locals or just your playstyle in general, but I think everything is perfectly ratioed here. And then we got 3 of my boy Hookmon. I love this guy. When he came out, I was like, I gotta find some way of putting Hookmon in any deck possible. He was at 4, but as we changed the build from what the original build was, we used to run the Paladin mode, not Paladin mode, sorry, we used to run the Peldramon along with the what's that card called? Megadeth. But we moved away from that build slowly as it took me a minute to realize the EX3 support for the fish works really well with the Regalecus. Because like he's aquatic himself, but he doesn't work in that deck. He kind of operates on his own, but a lot of that support really works for him, helps him out. Then after that, we got 3 Abidra, aka Larry the fucking Lobster here. Also, by the way, let me go back to this Hookmon. The reason why I play the Hookmon is he strips source when attacking. He strips 1, so like obviously this is like your you know, recovery control deck / source strip toolbox, so you kind of want to have the ability to strip at least an extra source or so. You'll find out later why. Then we got like I said, 3 Abidramons here, or Larry, I call him Larry Lobster, love him. This is Mr. Krabs, this is Larry Lobster, get used to that. So what happens is this guy, Larry Lobster, when played from sources, he gives blocker, and then whoever he gives a blocker to, he unsuspends them. and you can swing again. And since Regalecus' effect to pop out bodies is not once per turn, we'll get into that later, you can pop out an extra 1 or 2 bodies depending on if you have more level 3 and level 4s, which you always will have definitely at least 2 level 4s depending on your stack. But he's perfect for that. And then sometimes you just don't want to swing him, you want to have a blocker up, bam, he's your guy. I think he's perfect for that. You could run him at 4, maybe cut 1 Hookmon out, but I think cutting the Hookmon out kind of like hurts you in this situation. And then we have 4 of the Angimon. This is non-negotiable. He is your recovery. He is your other control body, because it says your turn, when this Digimon will Digivolve, if you have 3 or fewer security cards, recover 1. And then if you have, and then if his inheritable is when attacking you, if you have 3 or more security cards, return 1 of your opponent's level 3 bodies. So this gets rid of their floodgates. Any floodgates being, you know, their Psychs, their Modokis. I don't think you really care about the Psych Mons, but just getting a body off the field that they can attack with next turn is also really clutch. So yeah, he is perfect for that. He is non-negotiable at 4. I believe we would want to keep him at 4, right? All right, moving on to level 5s. Here we have probably the spot you can maybe switch up a bit of things here. We have 2 of the EX support for EX3 support, sorry. 2 of the Mega Seedramons, because when attacking you may play 1 level 3 Digimon from one of your blue Digimon evolution cards. This is what I was talking about earlier, and it's the heritable is basically the same thing when attacking. So like you can have a stack where, like, in a lot of situations, sometimes you're not able to get off your 2-body DNA evolution, right? And you just have this guy in hand. So what do? If you have Cole, you know, Mr. Krabs, you have Gomamon, or whatever the case may be, you just Digivolve, promote, you know, or if you promote Digivolve, swing, pop out the crab then gives this guy jamming, and he swings for a free check basically. And then on top of that, you could just put like another level 3 back into his sources, which would be like a Crabmon or something. So that's really good. I use that 2 of just because he's not as important as what else as the other stuff we want to do in this deck. Because like, since he doesn't pop out a body that can like return something or something like that, he's not as important. But he does net you like some draws off the popping out level 3s to get evolutions. Because one time I've literally had him on board, and I had like a Modoki, and I Digivolved the Modoki into the Hookmon for 2. Mega Seedramon swung, popped out the Modoki, gained 2 memory, and then so I recuperated the 2 memory I spent for the Hookmon. And played the Modoki Betamon, so now I got a memory floodgate, you know what I mean? And now I have a board presence of 3 Mons, and like, yeah, you're kind of playing into Death X, but this deck can recover from Death X pretty easily, like, and there's no problem there. And we have ways to remove Death X even if they do have them coming down, so there's no problem with playing into Death X here. Our next spot for level 5s is going to be the Chimeramons. We have 2 Chimeramons. I only have the 2. I have not bought any more, so that's why I run the 2. I do think it's a little bit perfect, the 2. I feel like if you do 3 or more, might be a tad too bricky. But here's the reason why we have 2 Chimeramons. Sometimes you don't find the Angimons, and you're stuck on 2 blue or black level 4s, right? And then sometimes your Angimons might be in trash or security, whatever the case might be. You're not finding them, don't worry about it. You could just overlay for Chimeramon, and if you have the Angimon in trash, Chimeramon tucks the Angimon into his sources. He now has 4 colors, 12k minus 4k to the board, right? Then on top of that, Digivolve on top of him, you have 2 level 4s. Not 2, sorry, you have like 3 level 4s now in that stack. You go into Regalecus, and now you're just popping out bodies left and right. I've had a turn where I had 2 Chimeramons, 1 Shaco in hand, and I got all the Shacos and Chimeramons on board, and we won because of it. Because we just kept swinging, unsuspend with the Beedramon, plus like another body we dropped out from Regalecus. It is a very powerful combo in my opinion. And then we got, of course, Shaku, as I like to call him. My favorite Mon in the deck one of my favorite Mons in the deck, and I think he's a very powerful Mon. You know, when Digivolving, you can recover 1, and then when DNA Digivolving, you can return one of your opponent's level 4, you know, your opponent's Digimon up to that mini security you have. If you have a 6, you can return level 6. If you have 5, return level 5 or lower, etc., etc. And this is really good to get off early game if they are able to go into level 6 past you turn. You just go into a Shako, return that level 6, and now they got to rebuild their stack. Even if they go on wide board, like this deck, this is a really good control deck into anything that kind of wants to go wide with little bodies, because you're always returning them with Shako, Angemon, or killing them with Chimeramon. It's not a big deal, right? The only decks you might have a problem with is the OTK decks, but who doesn't have problems with OTK decks? But the fact that you have a good bit of recovery in recursion in this deck is okay, because you can recover a lot. Depending on your stack. It's definitely a deck that you want to make sure you're not trying to recover too early and you are just trying to push advantage as best you can. So our level 4 spots, I think, are also kind of not level 4, sorry, level 6 are kind of non-negotiable here. We'll get to that in a minute. Let me just move this up. I'm really bad at this. This is my first deck profile, everybody, too, so don't crucify me in the comments for this, okay? Personally, I like showing the cards. Having the cards, personally, just looks nicer for me. So, our level 4 spots, there's only 4. And I think we only have room for the 4 Regalecus. And I was talking about them earlier, talking about the combos and stuff like that. I got a little ahead of myself, but that's okay. I'm excited. I love this deck. This is my favorite deck. I've been playing this since BT10. And like I said, we've added the fish support because of EX3, but I've been playing this deck in this mon since BT10. I think it's a really good, fun rogue deck that can just go crazy and beat anything in the meta right now. Like it's pretty decent into Setcon. Like it doesn't have too much of a problem with Setcon. Like it can struggle. Setcon has some pretty good removal, but this deck ramps up really fast against Setcon. Setcon plays it slow, low to the ground, and we're just like, hey, we don't give a fuck about that. We're just gonna bop you. And since they're playing out bodies with no sources, guess what? We take full advantage of that with Regalecus. You don't want to do that. So when he digivolves for 3, mind you. He's low cost. Thank God. No Waymons out here. You know, with digivolving, trash the bottom 2 Digivolution cards of one of your opponent's Digimon, and then when attacking, your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards in play. You may play 1 level 3 Digimon card. In 1 level 4 Digimon card from this Digimon's evolution cards without paying its cost. And I've gotten 3 swings off of him in 1 turn because I had like 3 Digimons in the stack. But it's not a once per turn effect, so you always get the pop out of bodies. Same thing with the Angemon, not a once per turn, and same thing with the Shakumon, not a once per turn. So the Shakumon will always minus 3k. If you swing with the Abidramon, you get a minus, you know, swing, unsuspend, you swing again, you got a 6k. If you can pick 3, that's 9. Angemon will just constantly return level 3s. There's no problem. And then for the extra bit of control when you're in a sticky situation, I love it. It's really good. Fucking Paladin mode. So Paladin mode is great because if you have another white Digimon in trash, it says here, when you would digivolve this Digimon card, you may return 1 white level 7 Digimon card from your trash to the bottom of your deck to reduce each of those cards by 4. Reduce it by 4, right? So that's a 7 to become a 3 cost evolution. Super powerful if you have one. I've had situations where they hit 1 in security, whether it's all or regular art, and we just sent that one to the bottom of the deck to digivolve this for 3 and kept turning and swung and got a, you know what I mean? You know, kept turning and swung. But when digivolving, when attacking, not once per turn either. If you may return 1 2-color Digimon from this Digimon Distribution cards to the bottom of its owner's deck to trash all the Digivolution cards of one of your opponent's Digimon. Then return all of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards to the bottom of their owner's deck. And that's really powerful because you're jog rushing, you're popping up bodies and stuff like that. You're constantly having at least 2 bodies under him with 2 colors, whether it be the Angemon, whether it be the Shaku, or whether it be the Hookmon, right? And then since you have the Crabmon now, the Crabmon you could swing Regalecus or whatever body you have, pop out the Crabmon. Crabmon can give him jamming, and then on top of that, it can give him another extra source, which I've done before. Like I've gone down to only Shaku on my stack with him, and I've swung with a Mega Seadramon to pop out the Mr. Krabs, and then I just put like a Hookmon in his sources, so I could just send the Hookmon to the bottom and save the Shaku as a minus 3k presence, because you kind of want to keep that sometimes, depending on what matchups you're in, right? And then also we're a source strip deck, so you kind of want to strip sources. So we got 2 Sora and Joes. Not much to be said about that. They drop bodies with no sources. You play into it, you get screwed over, right? It's kind of hard to play around that. I think the spice of this deck, though, the really big spice of this deck, it's also going to come in the form of options as well. We have 2 Matt and Soras. Since you're doing a lot of Digivolution, Jogger, etc., you're getting a lot of cards in your hands. So you're always going to have access to that one. And then since your opponents are also, depending on what decks they're playing, they're going to have like a lot of cards in hand too. It's hard for them to play around. Like they can play around it. Well, depending on what deck they're playing, it's a little bit harder because they don't want to get rid of cards in hand. They kind of want to keep it for certain things. We have 1 Digi Emperor, again, for those crossheart matchups where they want to promote, or any matchups where they want to promote a level 3, this loses them. And then if you're in situations where, let's say, you may brick, obviously every deck bricks, no doubt about that, right? No big problem. If your opponent dies it's level 5 or lower, you can tap him to draw 1 card on all turns. Doesn't matter what turn it is. Your turn, my turn, I draw. I don't give a damn. I play 1 Davis Miyamoto because I only have the 1 Davis. I've not felt like getting another Davis, but this has actually been really clutch. Again, since you're kind of like running these guys here, I don't know if you really need another Davis. Obviously, another Davis would be the ideal. 2 Davis in this deck would be ideal because you get, searching. But since you don't have like green swords, it's kind of like, I don't know if we really need it. And then for options here, we're running 2 memory boosts, simple, sticky situation. You need to find some stuff, or you're at your level 5 or whatever. You need to find some stuff, or you need to find some stuff. Find the Regalecus before you jog risk. You got little memory boost for that. 2 Hammer Sparks. I think this is where your flex spots can kind of come in. We'll talk about that at the end. 2 Hammer Sparks. They came in really clutch in a lot of my matchups where I needed 2 memory to go into the Regalecus, 2 memory just to drop a body, recover 3 off of 2 Angies and 1 Shaco, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, not a bad card. And then we're gonna get into the 1-ofs. I'm gonna save the spicy 1-ofs for the end. We got 1 Hammer Spark here, not Hammer Spark, 1 Ice Wall, obviously, really good card coming out of security or whatnot. Then we got Sorai as another 1-of. Sorai, again, this is where your flex spots come in. If you don't like the Hammer Sparks, you can take the Hammer Sparks, add 1 Sorai because that's really good. Stripping anything without sources cannot attack. Force them to have to spend that memory to Digivolve just to be able to attack and do whatever they need to do. So that's not bad. I'm gonna get into some of the tech options at the end of it, and yeah. And then so our other spot we have here is Blue Hawaii Death, right? Blue Eye Death says that one of your Digimon gets 3k DP and can also attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with no Digivolution cards. Since you're kind of stripping sources all day, you can kind of like get that off. Swing with something, strip something with Sora, Joe, or Regalecus, or whatever the case may be. And then if you have a Digimon, you can unsuspend and then allow him to swing again into something of your opponent's board with no sources. So it's another good board control option card there, and it gives you plus 3k for your Regalecus or even your Paladin mode, but I don't think Paladin mode needs that extra, you know what I mean? You don't need that extra. Then you got Plasma Stake. I think this is probably like the most interesting one, kind of a forgotten card if I'm honest. The Plasma Stake is a 4 cost main, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 13k DP or more. So that's your, you can play the red source. If you see it in hand, you can pop it off, get rid of a Death X or something. So it's not too crazy, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, that's what I say, like, you know what I mean, you don't really need to worry about Death X in this deck. And also, again, if they do have the Death X, you can Blue Hawaii Death, swing minus 3k on a Death X. It's now a 12k body. Regalecus can swing over it at 14 2 over and be, clean. So like, you're golden there. Yeah, and also if you have a Chimera, you go into a Chimera, you can obviously minus 4k first, save the blue hole, and then like Blue Hawaii Death afterwards to swing through. So yeah, that's the deck list. Like I said, so quickly before I end it, flex spots in my opinion is you probably can take out the, let's say you could probably take out the Hammer Sparks, add a Sorai, another Plasma Stake, or Blue Hawaii Death something. And then this is another interesting tech option from EX3. There's an Agumon that has an inheritable. When your opponent digivolves, they have to pay an extra one memory when they digivolve. That might be something interesting to look at this, but like I don't know how well it works in this deck list since you're popping out your level 3s and level 4s, but I think in certain situations where you are just hard digivolving into a Regalecus and you pass turn that way, that Agumon could come in handy there, but I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. I have to get my hands on it to try it. I think the other spicy tech card you could do is to stop like the OTK decks or anything that's going pretty crazy is you could Bifrost them. I think Bifrost is pretty interesting. It's a 3-cost main. One of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3k DPN, minus 1 security attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. That's pretty good. If they, you know they're going to go into their stack that they have on board, they're going to go into it and try to OTK you. You could hit them with the Bifrost, or coming out of security is pretty good. Security, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3k DP in security attack minus 1. They're never really gonna have more, unless you're playing Metal Guru. They're never really, or well, I guess Metal Guru and the other one does. So cuz kind of it doesn't slow them down, and they're 3k. So I think Grandis won't die in security, but Melga probably could die in security with what we got going on in here. Minus with that minus 3k if they check something afterwards. So I think that's an interesting other thing you do is like Holy Flames or something like that, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's the deck list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. You know, if you like it, subscribe, whatever, do whatever you want to do. Damn it, I don't give a damn. But I really do hope you guys like this deck list, because I love this deck. This is one of my favorite decks I've been playing so far. And it only gets better. It only gets better going into the next couple of sets. It only gets better. So yeah, just let me know what you guys think. If you like it, like, comment, subscribe. I don't give a damn. I'm gonna catch y'all later. Thank y'all for stopping by, watching, following, chat. Oh, that J is. I'll see y'all later. See videos with your friends. Be Breezy, stay frosty. I'm out.